the other one. Okay, I think we're recording, hopefully. I was gonna ask you to record, but,
Okay.
well, I think it's starting.
Yeah, it's recording. I see the recording button, so we're good there.
Okay, thank you, Bianca. Okay, so the website then, as long as you're all here, and I know that they do look at your attendance for the time period, I will let the powers that be know that you had to leave a few minutes early, so that won't be an issue, but you have that information there to get your credit for today. So if each of you just want to give us a thumbs up or let us know you've got it so that we can move forward with the presentation, just let us know when you're ready to grab.
Is that that's on the slide deck, right?
It is, sorry, apologies. Yep, let me grab the link for the slide deck as well.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, then I'm going to put the link to the slide deck on the chat.
Yep.
See if that works.
Perfect.
And in the slide deck, I believe we are on a slide 26 is where we're going to start with our session.
Can we present just so that it's bigger?
Am I sharing?
Yep.
Okay, let me go there and do that. My presenter, but it looks like you're the one on the screen.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's okay because you're recording, so don't worry. I think you put yours on presentation mode and it will get big.
Everything I'm doing is so slow.
So we have so many tabs open.
I apologize, you all. Bianca, you see me too many times with technical difficulties now.
You know, I told you about my friend Keith Bentley that used to be the director of technology in the PS.
Oh.
He told me once that he was putting all his money in stocks for companies that produce paper and pencil. That's how good everything works.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more thing here since I'm gonna stop. We're gonna try this one last time. So anyway, we are talking about feedback from teachers to students. We do have a few cool things to show you today. I'm just gonna get back to presenting in 1 second. But in the meantime, I hope you all had a restful weekend. Try this one last time. Give me a tab here. Oof. There we go. This is so slow.
Doesn't need to be.
I know.
Doesn't
It's
need to
not,
want to cooperate.
not yeah.
You want me to try mine then?
No, that's all right. I think I just got it, so we'll leave it there.
Yeah, fine.
All right, we've got that in the slide deck. EJ shared the slides in the chat. We're good to go. So I'm just gonna get back to the beginning.
So it's like 26.
Yeah. This is insane. Is that us? No, not more.
That's it. Yeah, that's 27 actually. That's where we have the content.
That's strategy 3, so a few more. So in thinking about, there we go. Okay, promise. Now we're doing things. All right, so we're talking about feedback from teacher to students. And how can we make that feedback, efficient? Because we all know that giving timely, good feedback can be a struggle to find time for that. So how can we automate our feedback? How can we make it just easier and quicker, right? Make it a more efficient process so that we're able to do that for our students and they're able to get that feedback.
And on slide 27, there is a thought by Dr. Hammond, who wrote the Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain book. And we wanted to have you think a little bit about what this really means. Our feedback can communicate to students that we have heard them, and that they will be more likely to trust us enough to follow our advice for that sometimes difficult next step. We provide feedback to students not only to let them know how they did in a particular assignment, but we are also transferring a message to them about how much we care about them by providing that feedback. So as we provide feedback and as we work together today, keep in mind that we have a double type of approach, one that is academic and one that is also that culturally responsive contribution that we're trying to make to the student.
So we wanted to talk about the FAST model. So FAST feedback means that it is frequent, it is accurate, it is specific, and it is timely. And since I'm looking at the time and I know that you're gonna have to take off at 9, we're gonna go a little bit quick. You do have the slides, so that hyperlink at the top for FAST model is another article if you wanted to look into that a little bit further. Okay, go ahead, EJ.
There is a video also that is very useful on bringing to the ground what is it that feedback is and how important and why it is important. We would like you later on, when you have a little time, check that video. It's a very short, I think that's about 4 minutes long, but it's really informative about the importance of feedback. So we're going to go now into slide 30 and start the content for us here. We wanted to let you know about different things that we have here. We're going to look into the Schoology piece, the Gradebook Comments, especially we're going to look at automated feedback using assessments in Schoology. And then we are going to also look at per deck grading and providing feedback using per deck. So I think that I'm first, so I'm going to get going with the piece around grading using a Schoology to provide feedback automatically through the assessments. So Molly, is it okay if I present them?
Yes, it sure is.
Let me see.
I'm clicking it, it's just extremely slow. There we go, stop presenting.
Okay, then here I go. So can you guys see the presentation so far on my screen? Can you see mine?
Yep, if you just
Okay, everything is moving there. So I'm going to clear this one a little bit and come to the Gradebook. See. What I'm showing you right now is a little bit of an assessment that I built in a course that I use for training with my teachers. And this particular assessment only has a couple of questions. Right now, it's an assessment about economics. It has a couple of questions in there, and I'm going to open one to it so you can see more or less how this is set up.
Can you make it bigger, Marias?
Mm-hmm. Is that good enough, Mary? So
Maddie, does that help? Okay, cool.
okay, you can see, it's a very simple assessment, just as a demo, of course. You can see the question there is about, in the new century, what nation is the direct competitor of the United States of America? And then there are some options here. And you can see this little button that says hide feedback. If I hide the feedback, everything goes away. But I want to show you how I put feedback for the different responses here. We got option 1, China, France, option 2, India, option 3, China, option 4, Russia. And each one of these has a little piece of feedback. For economy, I just made the feedback the same for the questions that are, the answers that are not the correct ones. And then I put a little bit of a quirky feedback for the one that is the correct one. You're thinking correctly. That is the type of feedback that the students will receive when they click on each one of those responses in the test. There is also a kind of more general feedback at the bottom that they will see at the top before they see the particular feedback. They'll see something like, oh, you missed it, or no, this is not the one, or great, you got it, excellent, something like that. This feedback comes automatically as the student is taking the test. When they are done with the test, they will be able to see all the feedback.
Go ahead, Maddie.
So when they click on, like if they were to click on France, would they see that feedback right away? Or was it once they submit the assignment?
Once they submit the assignment, they'll
Okay.
receive the feedback for each one of the questions.
Great. And what assessment type is this? Is it a blue puzzle piece or a green puzzle piece?
This is a green puzzle base, you know, the tests and quizzes. That's what this one is.
Perfect. Thank you.
On the other one, there is also the possibility of providing feedback. Let me see if I think that I have one here. Here is one with that. If I was going to open a question, for example, this one says that it's grading, I can also add feedback on that particular type of assignments using the question. And I want you to notice that once I'm done with that feedback on this particular question, I click next, and it sends me directly to the next question that I can actually provide feedback again. You don't have to provide feedback on every single question, of course. You have some key questions that you really want the students to summarize their knowledge about a particular concept or unit, and those are the ones that you can focus on. You don't have to provide a feedback, as you know, on every single thing. That's too much work, and what we want to do is make it a little easier. So that's how we can provide feedback to assessment in a Schoology. Any other questions about this particular point? I know that we are moving fast because of the time issue. Okay, then I'm going to move to Per Deck, and for this one, I'm going to need you to do something for me very quickly. I want you to go to perdeck.com and enter this code here. I'm going to put the code in the chat. Let me see.
If you click the white button, it will make it larger for them.
Yeah.
No, because it's Instagram.
Well, I can copy the link.
Yep.
Let me put the link in the chat. Now, if I can find the need. Here it is. Okay. So if you don't mind to click on that, you'll find 5 slides that are very, very quick to go through, and I have it in the student page. If you don't mind to go quickly through that, I'll give you a minute to go through them and put your responses in there. You don't need to know anything about art. I don't know much about it either. But I kind of, do an approximation of how you feel about some of these pieces of art in there.
And Leslie, Maddie, Bianca, have you used Per Deck? Or are any of you kind of new to Per Deck?
I use it every day.
Awesome, good for you,
Awesome.
Leslie. Leslie, by the way, I wanted to ask, what content do you teach?
Maddie too.
I teach social studies.
Oh, okay,
All right,
great.
beautiful.
Maddie uses it every day.
Maddie is in language arts.
Maddie's in language arts, that's what I thought. And Bianca's familiar, okay, good to know. So hopefully we can show you some just new tricks that might help you kind of further utilize Pear Deck.
Yeah, or if as we are going through, there are some things that you would like to share with the team about how you use some things, that would be awesome too. We can all learn from each other.
Do you,
So,
your presentation went away, just by the way.
Okay, then, let me move these out of the way. I think that I'm on the right one, hold on. So I'm going to go to the teacher dashboard now. And, I don't think that you are being able to see my screen. Let me switch screens.
It looks like you're not presenting.
No? Oh, I thought I was.
You were, but I think
It stopped for some reason.
Yeah.
All right, here it goes. Let me look at which one. Okay, by now you have probably gone through all those slides, correct? I'm going to refresh these. To load the new responses. Okay.
well, you have the responses from before too, so.
I am not sure if I'm presenting.
Doesn't look like it.
No, that's right?
Because it's your camera is showing. Wait, maybe
I think that I'm going now. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yes or no?
well, I don't see it. Do you all see EJ's presentation or do you see EJ's hands and face?
Okay. All right, and let me stop presenting.
No? Yeah.
Let me see then. Let me go back there and start again. I'm going
Yeah,
to
they
stop.
just see you.
Maybe if I stop the camera, sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
There we
It's
go.
just too much, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So we went through those responses, and as you know, many of you have been using Pear Deck. There are many different ways that you can actually look at those responses. Usually, I prefer to do my tile piece because then I can see all of it together in the same place, and I can provide feedback to students using the feedback button directly. So I don't have to go, for example, if I put it all like this, or if I put it as a list, sometimes give me the option, some responses give me the opportunity to look at it as a list or by student. Then I have to scroll up and down to do that. Let me see if I can. Okay, no, it doesn't, in this particular slide, doesn't give me that opportunity. But you can see that I have provided feedback to some already there. You might be a person who likes to socialize with friends and who appreciates the blues night atmosphere during the weekend. Somebody that chose the table with the kind of by the sidewalk, right? Another feedback that I provided another student here was about you might be a person who likes to define structures. That's Molly, 100% Molly. You might, for example, like to plan your week and go through the plans without changes, and if something goes wrong, you go bananas. So, you can provide feedback very quickly that way, but another good way to actually do grading and all that is by going to peardeck.com. I'm going to just leave it working right now. I go to my sessions.
Can I, 1 second, just because there's a couple things in the chat. So Maddie, awesome to hear that you know about the feedback button. And Leslie, when you're giving feedback in immediate time, if the students are on that slide, they should kind of see a thought bubble there from you as it's happening.
Yeah, they will see.
Oh, yeah, as Maddie said, yeah.
Yeah.
What if it's, can they see it later on after you've finished the lesson, or if it's still open, or is it just if they happen to be on that slide in the moment?
So So Maddie, to Maddie's point, yes, there's a few different ways. If you, and maybe you can even add to this, Maddie, if you like, but I think EJ, what are you gonna show next?
Well, responding to that question, they see it as they are moving through the slide. There is a little notice that comes, you have feedback, right? And then they click on that feedback and they see it. Once you close the session, that feedback is gone. It will remain in your data, but they don't get to see it. Unless if you put that feedback on that activity on your gradebook. And you can actually export that from the Pear Deck and actually manually enter it in the gradebook as you are going through the assignment.
But also, if you send them the student takeaways, or reflect and review, like they get a copy of everything they've done in class. So that they have that also.
And I was going to show you those takeaways actually. I'm going to end the session because to be able to take those takeaways, you have to actually end the session. And then, let me see. You can export all the comments and everything from Pear Deck into a spreadsheet. You can see that here are now the different responses. And what I do usually is that by the slides that I want to grade, like slide 5, for example, is the one that has the most meat. I actually will put a comment column in there, and I will put my feedback for each student on the slide 5 on that column. I can have, for example, a sheet that already has the slides. Let me see if I have one here already prepared. This here is a kind of a feedback bank for each one of the slides, slide 2, slide 3, 4, and 5. And I can actually copy from here and just insert it into that other one that I put for particular students. Let's say, Bianca, I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback here. This is more or less how it works. If I go then very quickly to, let me see.
Go to reflect and review.
That's what I'm trying to get.
It was on that.
Oh, it was in there?
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I can do it from here now. Reflect and review. When you end the session, you see that reflect and review screen. You can also get it from the sessions window, from the teacher's dashboard. You can generate your takeaways and you can actually send that link to the students and they will get their own comments. They don't get all the comments on the presentation, but they get their own. So if I go and open takeaways, you see that in my drive, there is a document for each one of the students. And when they get a link to that particular document with all the feedback that has been given to that particular student. Okay? Slide by slide.
And it auto shares with them, yes. So Maddie, usually when you're in a session at class and you end a session at the end, as soon as you click end, it usually says, would you like to publish takeaways or something like that? And it will automatically email a copy to each student. So there's just a few different ways that you can share information from Pear Deck. And all very cool stuff. One, not to jump in on EJ, did you know about with reflect?
No,
with reflect and review, also they get a copy of the presentation in a different way, I guess. So I would just invite you to explore the takeaways, reflect and review, and then export to spreadsheet, all as different tools for grading and gathering information in Pear Deck. And then I know you all have to leave before 9, so I'm gonna try to get through just a few other tips. So again, focusing on feedback from the teacher to the student. I have a couple other tips in Schoology to show you, and then Ed Puzzle. So hopefully we can just touch on everything quickly. And of course, you all know I'm your digital coach, so if you want to learn more about any of these, just reach out because I know we're kind of flying through. So I will try to present again and hopefully it will work this time. So get back to our slides here. And so I wanted to talk about rubrics in Schoology and Google Docs real quick, and then I will touch on Edpuzzle hopefully. So in Schoology, and now Maddie, I know for you in language arts, there are some pre-populated. Sorry, my computer is just brutal today. There are some pre-populated rubrics for language arts connected to standards that are accessible to you. And if you want help finding those and utilizing them, reach out to me. Here is my kind of practice course. But if you would like to use rubrics, go to your grade setup. And why are rubrics great, right? The reason we're pointing out rubrics is because, again, it's fast feedback, right? It's specific and it's quick. And when you attach a rubric, goodness gracious, I just can't today. When you use a rubric, right, you know the feedback that you're given, click, 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 and it's so much information for a student rather than going and saying, hey, your essay was really great, and here's some feedback. Rubrics enable you to give specific feedback without spending as much time. So hopefully I'll be able to show you how to do that. Okay. Oh, computer.
Yeah, it seems like it is overheating.
I know. Okay, so when you're in grade setup, you're all familiar with this screen. You have these scales and rubrics over here you've seen, but right next to scales, you can click on rubrics. And I have a few rubrics in here. I happen to have some language arts rubrics in here. You can edit these as well, but I'm going to click on one just because they're very rich. They've kind of I think someone in the district completed them, so there's a lot of information there. These are out of 400 points. In my grade book, I taught Spanish. I never used that many points, but these are editable, right? So just know that in rubrics, you can. This button right here, add criteria, will add another bar to your rubric. And then you can edit how much, like just by clicking on the numbers, you can edit how much points are worth, right? So this is just very rich and complete. You can also tie your rubrics to learning objectives, which then can be used in a mastery tracker, which can show students mastery towards standards over a period of time, which we don't have time to get into today, but again, it's just a very rich feature of Schoology that I think is probably underutilized, but can be very cool.
And I
Mm-hmm.
want to just plug in for that because for SLOs, the mastery tracker is perfect. If you get used to putting those criteria and tying them to standards, you can use the mastery tracker for your SLO easily.
Yeah, that's a very good point, EJ. So what I want to show you what's cool about rubrics in your gradebook is, you'll see this in a second, but once you're in the gradebook, the 4 little boxes pop up so that you know there's a rubric there, and you can grade the rubric right in the gradebook.
There it is.
There we go. All right, so for example, I haven't graded Dante's argumentative essay. When I see these 4 boxes pop up right here, that's how I know I have attached a rubric. Would you like me to show you how to attach a rubric to an assignment? Are we good with that? Well, I will just show you. So if I want to grade Dante's argumentative, all I do is click here and that rubric pops up immediately. Yep, he had a pretty good introduction, needed to do his evidence a little bit better. really nailed his, the organization of his ideas, etc. And had great command of conventions. So I can save that, the math is done. At the right side of that, there are some bubbles where you can add additional commentary if you like. So it's just a very easy tool in Schoology. And then, what time do you all have to leave? Are you leaving right at 9 or before?
I would say like a couple minutes before, so I can just get a quick bathroom break, and then
For
we're going
sure.
to start in again at 9, I think, to 11:30.
Oh yeah, you've got a long stretch, so absolutely. So okay, so that was rubrics. There's also gradebook comments we were going to show you, but I think that's also, I think you're familiar, and EJ kind of went over that. Like when you're grading an assignment, when you give the grade, especially with the Google Doc, you can add a comment as you're giving the grade. You're also able to add comments on a Google Doc. But what I want to make sure we also get to is Edpuzzle. Because Edpuzzle, in a similar way that EJ showed you with Schoology in an assessment, you can show students immediately if they're right or wrong by adding feedback to the answers in Edpuzzle if you're not familiar with that already. Oof. I don't think I have this. Well, we'll see if I can. Hold on 1 second.
Don't you presenting it, huh? Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so if you're in a video, hopefully this isn't gonna kick me out also. So what we wanted to focus on, right, is automating that feedback. So how can we improve feedback by, I'm just gonna click on, let me go to something that's in my content. So any one of these, oh, this is going so much quicker finally. So in a multiple choice question or in an open, no, I think actually only for a multiple choice, but you in Edpuzzle you can also leave notes, right? If there's something you want students to catch, just be aware. You can say, hey, pay attention to this, or did you catch what the speaker just said? But also in your questions for any video, and there may or may not be feedback on these because I just picked a random video. But if I go to a multiple choice question,
Earth's at
oh, there we go. So, and if I edit this question, so if the Earth was not surrounded by a warm blanket of air, the Earth would be hot, cold, or the correct temperature, and the correct the correct answer is cold and is checked green. But if you click on the feedback, you can add so that when they see it, so in Schoology, because it's an assessment, they would see it after they complete the test, right? Otherwise, they would, they could change their answers, exactly. So, but in Edpuzzle, you can say, right, great job. And it would be, okay, so here, they selected hot, and maybe you would want to add the feedback that correct me, science people, if I'm saying the wrong thing, right? But the ozone traps air in, so it would be cold. Traps warm air in, so it would be cold. And then they have that instant feedback, right, to improve their learning so that they're getting the most out of your Edpuzzle activity. So very quickly, that's just showing you the automated feedback. Again, opportunities for you to be able to give more feedback to your students without having it to be a huge time commitment. And let me just, I want to make sure that we get anything else we need to taken care of. So, oh, come on, because I do want to let you all take off. The information for logging, getting credit for today. My computer's just broken. At the very end of the deck, because there's information for all 3 strategies in the deck. At the very end,
That's on slide 43.
thanks CJ, so go to slide 43. This is what we showed you before, so you might have it already. If any of you have not registered, you can add your information to the spreadsheet at the bottom. Otherwise, go ahead and find this course and then make sure that you find the form and the survey. So I do want to ask you just one question before you leave. I hope that something was helpful today. Was there maybe one tip that you plan on using perhaps this week or next week, just as your takeaway from today? What's one thing you would like to try? And then I will let you guys get a quick break, sorry.
I would say in Pear Deck, I learned about the spreadsheet and the reflect and review, which I didn't really know about before. So I'm going to use that for sure. And
Awesome.
and before I stop talking, just is there a way to get the join code for that class today or in Schoology? I have it for August and September, but not October. And I'll be quiet now for everybody else.
If you registered for today's Teal Day, so if you did not register, then go to step B and put your name on the spreadsheet. Because if you did register, you should have it in your classes. Thank you, Leslie. And if you need help with Pear Deck, please reach out. I can stop by for 10 minutes or for half an hour anytime.
Thank you so much, Molly.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everybody.
Thank you for coming.
And Maddie, I'm glad you're excited about Schoology assessments. Also let me know.
Thank you.
And if y'all could
Question
do-
for you. I don't see a form on the Schoology page.
For the survey?
Uh-huh.
It's inside the course, actually. You have to go into the course.
Yeah, did
Yeah,
you find the
I've seen it.
course? Okay.
And there's a folder that says Teal Day recordings and makeup session and PDU information, a page. But I don't see a form.
I don't have it open and it will take me too long because my computer, the state of my computer, but are you sure, are you in like module 3?
Yes.
Oh,
So if one of y'all could maybe take a look at that.
yeah,
Mhm.
I will.
That would
I
be
would
really
say
cool.
if, to be safe, you could add your name to the spreadsheet.
Okay.
They will have your attendance because we know you were here today. I'll shoot Luke a message with your 3 names just to make sure. Maybe they'll put it, maybe will appear later. I don't know. That's my best guess for now.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. I'll
they
keep an
might
eye
put
out.
it, yeah, they
Sounds
might
good.
put it after the session is over.
That could be, yeah.
So double check in about half an hour.
Okay, great. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Any questions for you, Bianca? Okay, have a great day. We'll see ya.